Welcome to Dempsey Hill. Located just across the Singapore Botanic Gardens, Dempsey Hill is currently one of the most hip and quaint neighborhoods in Singapore today. Filled with eloquent restaurants and contemporary retail stores, bars and art galleries, Dempsey Hills attract a myriad of locals and foreigners. Named after Miles Christopher Dempsey, General Commanding Officer of the Malaya Command and Commander-in-Chief of the Allied Land Forces Southeast Asia, Dempsey Hill was a part of Mount Harriet, a former nutmeg estate in the 1850s. While many will remember Dempsey Hill as the site for the Tanglin Barracks or its involvement with the 1915 Indian Mutiny, we are here today to explore the in-depth agricultural history of Dempsey Hill.
Originated from Banda Islands, nutmeg was introduced to Europeans by the Arab traders. The nutmeg was highly valued in the European because of its rarity, medicinal properties, and flavoring in food. After the Ottoman Turks conquered Constantinople, the Portuguese had to reroute their trade routes. This led to the discovery of nutmeg plantation in the Banda Islands. The other empires began to fight for the islands, and the Dutch eventually established a century-long monopoly on the spice trade. In an attempt to break the monopoly, Raffles introduced nutmeg and other cash crops to Singapore. Dempsey Hill, originally known as Mount Harriet, was a nutmeg plantation in the 1850s. It contained over 1,600 nutmeg trees that stretches from Dempsey Hill all the way to Singapore Botanic Garden. However, the nutmeg-beetle blight affected the plantation and eventually ceased production in the late 1850s. In 1860, Whampoa Hoo Ah Kay, owner of the plantation and one of the most influential Chinese tycoons, sold the land to the British forces, who then used the area to construct the Tanglin Barracks.
In Singapore's agriculture history, gambier was one of the rare viable crops which flourished in the mid-19th century. Gambier is an extract derived from the leaves and stems of the plants which are native to Sumatra and Borneo. Gambier played a significant role in Singapore's physical landscape in 1890. Large proportions of land were reforested in the expansion of cash crops like gambier. And by 1848, approximately 24% of the land was cultivating crops like gambier.
Gambier is also an important trading product in Singapore then. In the 1830s, Singapore's gambier discovered a large market in British dyeing and tanning industries, where such rising demands increased the prices of gambier. This in turn promoted the boost in opening of more new gambier plantations in Singapore and provided employment to 6,000 Chinese labourers. Gambier production grew to its peak in 1848. Gambier crops could fetch earnings of around $77 per plantation in its peak. After 15 years of slash-and-burn agriculture, growth of gambier could no longer be sustained as the soil became infertile and devoid of nutrients. Gambier plantations were then moved to other Malayan states, mainly to Johor in the 1860s.
In 1877, rubber tree seedlings from England were sent to Singapore Botanic Garden to research on the rubber tree's potential commercial value. A rubber tree produces latex, which was processed to produce rubber. The director of Singapore Botanic Garden, Henry Nicholas Riley, has made significant findings on rubber tree. With the breakthrough, regional botanic gardens were following Singapore's leadership on rubber plantation. Many Chinese entrepreneurs like Lin Li Sun began rubber trading and set up rubber factories and plantations. In 1910, the new global demand for rubber in the automobile industry has made significant impact on Singapore's trade and economy. Singapore became the world's largest rubber exporter in 1919. Additionally, the port receives rubber from other places and its exportation reached its peak in 1930s. To regulate the rubber movement, Singapore Chamber of Commerce Rubber Association was set up. Besides its economy, rubber plantation expanded to transport facilities, brought in many immigrants, and the population doubled. Due to rubber and other key commodities, Singapore was able to play a major role in facilitating the world trade and demonstrate itself as a renowned port.
During the 60s, Fishing and farming was an important source of income for Singaporeans. There are about 20,000 farms occupying 14,000 hectares of land. By the 70s, about 175,400 people, 9% of the population, were actively engaged or indirectly dependent on agricultural activities for a living. Farmland was eventually reduced to only about 3% of the land in 1988. In the present day, our agricultural landscape has vastly transformed. Technology, innovation and automation has allowed farmers to increase productivity. Areas that used to be farms and plantations has made way for urbanization. Just like Dempsey, which used to be a nutmeg plantation, has become a vibrant retail and lifestyle destination.